Hello, this is Mary James with Passive House Accelerator, and thanks for tuning in to this special bonus episode of the Passive House podcast recorded at the International Passive House Conference in Innsbruck, Austria. A big thank you goes out to Source 2050 for their support of this series. And I am here speaking with Bjorn Kierulf of Ecococon. Can you just tell us a little bit about Ecococon and introduce yourself?
Yes, it's a pleasure to be here. Ecococon is a producer of modularized straw panels. It's, I think, revolutionary way how we can deal with passive house standards with bio-based materials in the future. It's a system that enables to use abundantly available material like straw and very little timber to create a load-bearing structure that is insulated. And we do that using modularized panels that are made to measure.
And I understand that you've had an exciting you have an exciting development coming up that you've had one factory doing it, and you're now expanding into a second factory. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, exactly. We already have a factory in Lithuania, and we have produced about 50,000 square meters of wall surface that has already been kind of built in, I think, more than 26 countries around the world, on 3 continents, in fact, also over in the United States. And we are now, or not now, we embarked on a path to automize and make our production more efficient. About 4 years ago, starting to develop different digitalized methods, and this is now coming to I think a solution with us building a factory, highly robotized factory in Slovakia that will kind of work as a pilot unit for any future kind of local production sites we would like to set up.
Oh, that's very
all
exciting.
Around the world. Yes.
Yeah, and when will this new factory open?
We are now already adding the machines and testing them. So in the third quarter of this year, we will have first kind of test runs, and hopefully in the second or fourth quarter of this year, it will be running as we expect.
That's really exciting news. And for our North American audience, can you talk a little bit about projects that have been done in the U.S.?
There are quite a few projects, small and larger ones as well. I don't know them specifically, so it's hard for me to talk about them. But I think our partner, Peter Jensen in the US, is doing a good job of kind of promoting Ecococon, and there are projects mainly on the East Coast, but also now in California. There will be one in Utah soon. So although it doesn't make really sense to kind of ship straw all over the ocean in a container, it does make sense that we have projects there that are kind of lighthouse projects that can show the way. And also, we need to give the architects and the builders some time to kind of adapt this new idea and methods of how to build properly. So I do think it fulfills a very important role and for future development.
And I understand that your straw panels have been used in at least one outfit project also.
That's correct. It's one very small project in France. It's a refurbishment where the panels were used on the interior courtside, where there were no demand for the facade, like historic architectural demands.
So they were used on the interior?
No, they were used on the court side, on the side of the courtyard.
Oh.
So
I see.
it was
Okay.
not on the side of the road.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and the only way to get any materials there was through the building. So because it was modularized and small, and it could be plugged together like a big Lego. It was easy to do, and it was the ideal material. So it was quite cost efficient, I think, as well.
Uh-huh. And it's interesting that they're generally load-bearing panels, but in a retrofit you don't really need them to be load-bearing, but still it was effective to use your panels?
Absolutely, and there are certain advantages. We could, for example, place the load-bearing panels in front of a facade, so we wouldn't kind of add extra loads to whatever is existing. So you can use it for example, wrapping buildings. I guess all the way up to 30 meters. It could be self-load-bearing facade in front of a concrete building, for example. So we do think there are quite a few applications possible. We are looking forward to see what the architects can do with this.
So going back to new construction, can you just tell us a little about what's the tallest straw panel building that you're familiar with?
Yeah, at the moment we have mostly up to 3-story buildings. We do have a gym, and we do have a factory that reaches about 3-story, so it's like 9-meter high wall. But we do have a very nice project in preparation in Sweden, Malmö, and it's planned to be 12 or 10-story height.
Wow!
And it's a infill solution, so it's a CLT construction that uses the panels as an infill for the external walls. So again, another use case, which makes me kind of happy that the ways and methods of how the panels can be used is very wide, and it gives me hope that it can be adapted in many ways.
So one of the things that is interesting about you opening a new factory is that there must be enough demand for you to make that kind of an investment. Can you talk a little bit about how you've been able to expand the use of your panels?
Well, it's still a struggle, but we have grown quite quickly in the last few years. We have a wide team all over in Europe, so there are a few buildings built in every country each year, because what we have noticed is that it does take time until any new materials are accepted on the marketplace. And like I said before, architects, builders, they all need to get used to a system that definitely makes sense, because we know the builders are happy, we know that the architects have fun working with this, but it does take time, and you can't jumpstart anything like this. So it's just working diligently, I think, in many markets in parallel to make it at least work at a certain production volume that kind of covers the cost. And now we are at the stage where our factory capacity in Lithuania is more or less at the limit. And I think it's the right time to start a bigger factory. And the interesting thing here is that by being able to produce larger quantities, there are suddenly new openings on the market, like developers who will embrace these materials, because before it was kind of impossible to build with this material. If you have a demand of 10,000 square meters being delivered over a few months, who would be able to produce this? So there is really no other way than going through this prefabrication and highly automated manufacturing.
And finally, I mean, has all the advantage. Your panels have all the advantage of a bio-based material. Can you tell us a little bit about where you get the straw from?
Of course, the straw needs to be local. The new factory will have the straw 9 kilometers away, trucked from a farmer, and we will have wood from 40 kilometers away. So it's really very local, and we don't need any other materials except for a few screws. So it's also possible to dismantle the whole panel if that would be needed in the future. So from that point of view, it's exciting, but we do have like a triple kind of savings here. First of all, we're using a biomass that sequesters a lot of carbon up front. So in fact, we store more carbon than we emit during production, and much more. So we are kind of negative. The second thing is that we are replacing, by using these materials, we are replacing materials that otherwise would be very high carbon, like fossil fuel insulations and brakes and whatever. So, and third, part of our system is an airtight layer and very good insulation, so we probably get the better energy efficiency in our buildings by just applying the panels as a part of the system. And people, even architects who are not familiar with passive house, they will start applying airtightness and other detailing that will improve the energy efficiency. So it's a triple win situation. Well, so it's really exciting, I think, what we're doing.
It is very exciting, and I'm so happy to hear that you've been prospering in spreading the information about your product and how to use it. And thank you so much, Bjorn Kierulf, for coming by and talking with me. And again, thank you to Source 2050 for their support of this special bonus episodes from the Passive House Conference in Innsbruck, Austria.